Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Belize rejects IMF remedies and goes with a homegrown program for economic growth. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Tuesday, March 14. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening and welcome. Prime Minister Dean Barrow Monday unveiled some belt-tightening measures even as he announced a rejection of policies of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, delivering an almost $1.2 billion Belize dollar budget to Parliament on Monday. He told legislators that his administration would instead intensify a relentless campaign to trim expenditure fat in the new fiscal year. Barrow said a homegrown program was created after the Ministry of Finance had examined a range of options for supplemental revenues and received suggestions from the social partners and tax experts.
The IMF's recipe, which we got and had before, the IMF recipe has been publicly rehearsed and is well known by all. Their formula is raise the GST, eliminate those items, mostly basic food and medical supplies that are zero rated, cancel the exemptions for the productive sector, and raise the tax take from personal and business income. But we are pro-poor and pro-people, and so we reject those options. We reject those options as regressive and punitive to both citizens and enterprise. Instead, we have come up with our own recipe, and it does involve measured consolidation. But it does this without imposing any onerous hamstring on business, and while preserving the protective armor for the poor, the food pantry and boost shield for those at the margins.
Stressing that ministries and departments must aggressively curtail costs before seeking additional revenue collections, Barrow reported that the first revenue measure to be adopted in the new financial year would be that all statutory boards would contribute 10% of their 2017-2018 income to the consolidated fund. As for the tax burden which citizens will bear, the Prime Minister said the excise levy on aerated water, beer, stout, cement and fuel will be adjusted. The departure fee for non-Belizeans moving to $40. The environmental charge on imported goods will go up by 1%, and the tax threshold for electricity consumption will be lowered. The social fee on freeze zone cigarettes and stamp duty on foreign exchange permits will also be adjusted. Barrow said that together, the supplementary revenues will increase by 2.2% of GDP. And while the Belize leader is shunning the IMF, former Barbados Prime Minister Owen Arthur is urging the government in his country to reconsider a relationship with the Washington-based institution as it seeks to turn around the ailing economy. He made the suggestion on Tuesday in his contribution to the debate on the 2017-2018 estimates of expenditure and revenue. The Finance Minister, Chris Sinclair, has already said government would not be going the IMF route. And while Arthur acknowledged that going to the IMF to deal with the island's debt situation would not be easy, he suggested it should not be ruled out.
Barbados cannot turn its back on having its debt restructured under a fund program. It cannot turn its back on having many of these other things that need credibility done under a fund program. It cannot turn its back under the $750 million that it can borrow from the fund at 1%, nor, if the House is not aware, that there are things called policy-based loans for which Barbados can be eligible from the IDB and the CDB that can help us to restructure this where we don't have money, that can only be accessed if the country has a program in place with the International Monetary Fund.
Meantime, the finance minister has admitted that government is borrowing too much money from the central bank, while denying that he personally made calls to the bank to print money. Sinclair acknowledged on Monday during his presentation of the estimates that government had to resort to the central bank to avert chaos in the economy. But he said they are now committed to phasing out central bank lending and increase domestic institution investor support.
The government commits itself, therefore, to a strategy of a smaller deficit, and we're beginning to do that in these estimates this year. The deficit has come down. Last year, we said we would have a deficit where we brought the estimates to Parliament of 8%. We brought it down to 5.1, and now we intend to carry it to 4.4. We still think 4.4 is too high. We need to bring it down further so that it is financeable, but we need to do that in a responsible way that does not unravel the entire society.
The finance minister said managing the economy amid heavy criticism and repeated downgrades by international rating agencies Moody's and Standard & Poor's has not been easy. But he said the government had to do whatever was necessary to protect its citizens from further hardship.
Moody's has done this and S&P has done that. We've had to undergo the attacks of an abusive opposition, and certainly in relation to our policies. Sir, if the price of saving lives and livelihoods, if the price, Madam Deputy Speaker, of saving lives and livelihoods is a downgrade from Moody's or a bad report from S&P, for saving the lives and the livelihoods of people in the farm and in your constituency in Gall Hill and St. John, if that is the price that we have had to pay to protect ordinary citizens in Barbados from the worst ravages of this recession, it is a price we willingly accept as a government.
But responding to Sinclair's presentation, opposition leader Mia Motley said he stopped short of admitting that the economy was in deep trouble. She said the 6-hour presentation revealed an absolute failure by the Ministry of Finance, and she recalled his denial of economic difficulties in a 2010 debate on a no-confidence motion in the government.
We are at that date with destiny, Madam Deputy Speaker, because we have a government that has now presided over this country, becoming the third most indebted country in the world in respect of debt to GDP ratio. We have a government that has presided over moving from 0 million in 2008, the beginning.
The opposition leader said the country has a date with destiny and both sides must have a serious discussion on the future of Barbados.
Because if ever there was an admission that this country is in deep, deep economic difficulties, it was the admission that came from the Minister of Finance. This is the same Minister of Finance who, when we brought a motion of no confidence in October 2010, denied all of these things. This is the same Minister of Finance, Madam Deputy Speaker, who even as recent as last year, with a motion of no confidence that focused on the fundamental issues facing the country, denied it. This is the same Minister of Finance who, on the eve of the last election, joined in chorus to say there would be no sell-offs, there shall be no charging of fees, and there will be no layoffs in the public sector.
Meanwhile, The Jamaica government is defending its $13.5 billion tax package amid heavy criticism. Last week, Finance Minister Audley Shaw announced increases in taxes on gas, alcohol, tobacco products and motor vehicle license and related fees. He also announced tax on group health insurance as well as a lowering of the threshold for which tax on electricity is charged. But the announcement is not sitting well with several groups. Herman Green of TVJ News tells us more.
The Chief Executive Officer of Sagicor, Richard Biles, is among those who raised concerns about the general consumption tax on group health insurance. Mr. Biles had argued that taxing group health insurance hurts workers. He thinks the government should have taxed something else. On Monday, the Finance Minister said the tax on group health insurance goes directly to employers and not employees. Mr. Shaw said the increase is between $700 and $800 per employee per month.
It is unlikely that companies will bother their employees by passing this on to them. Also, there are regular increases by the two health insurance providers, and these are absorbed by the local employers and not passed on to their employees. We therefore do not see the GCT on these policies as a burden on existing companies to reduce the level of insurance for their staff.
Mr. Shaw also said he does not see it as a disincentive for companies who want to provide such insurance for their staff. Another area of concern for some Jamaicans, specifically motorists, is the gas tax. Last week, Mr. Shaw insisted that he does not expect an increase in taxi fares in the short term. But already, the Jamaica Association of Transport Owners and Operators, JATU, has said it will be making a fare increase demand.
When oil prices go down and prices of fuel at the pump go down and down, you never hear JATU complaining, right? But when I answered you off the cuff some time ago, I did that within the context. I did that within the context that the price of oil on the world market is not set to escalate at all. In fact, if anything, it's set to go down.
In considering the tax package, the finance minister argued that it is critical to remember the government's policy of direct to indirect taxation.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, Bermuda's opposition reacts to a planned criminal probe into contracts issued when it was in government. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
With the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, opportunities to relocate for work as a CARICOM skilled national have been expanded to include 10 categories of persons. 2 of those categories are artisans and household domestics holding a Caribbean Vocational Qualification or CVQ. A CVQ is a certificate you can apply for based on how well you do your job. If you are certified as a household domestic, including housekeepers and home health workers, or an artisan, including persons in the building trade, craft persons, and machine operators, you could be eligible to move for work. CVQ standards have been developed with regional employers, so your skills will be recognized wherever you go. Contact your national training agency to find out about CVQs for artisans or household domestics, or visit csmeonline.org for more information. The CARICOM Single Market and Economy. Make it work for you.
Welcome back. Bermuda's opposition Progressive Labour Party has been reacting to the announcement that contracts issued when it was in office have been referred to police for criminal investigation. Opposition leader David Burt says while he has no problems with investigations being conducted, he's more concerned about how much money is being spent on probes while good governance legislation remains idle. On Monday in Parliament, Premier Michael Dunkley disclosed the outcome of a commission of inquiry which looked into issues raised in the Auditor General's report into the 2009 to 2012 fiscal years when the Progressive Labour Party was in power.
These investigations have been going on a long time into these matters. So here we have the police that are conducting investigation. We have a commission of inquiry that's conducting investigations. We have the government that's spending money on certain civil, I don't want to call them civil prosecutions, but they might as well be civil prosecutions. So I mean, there's a whole lot of money that is being spent. The most important thing, in my view, Gary, is to make sure that we have complete transparency at any point in time, as the Progressive Labour Party has laid out a very robust plan for good governance, and we will improve the standard of governance which exists. I will, however, say this. I think that it is very interesting that a government, the One Bermuda Alliance, that when faced with coming into office has, after, I want to say, 51 months in office right now, refused to implement the Good Governance Act.
The Trinidad and Tobago government has appointed a 7-member committee to review the operations of the cash-strapped state-owned oil company, Petroleum Company Limited, Petrotrin. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley on Monday presented the instruments of appointments to the committee that is being chaired by Selwyn Lashley, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Energy and Energy Affairs. The committee includes Gregory Marchand and David Abdullah of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union that has been calling for a probe of the loss-making oil company. The appointment honors a cabinet decision made last month to review operations at the company in light of failing revenues, allegations of mismanagement, and decrease in oil prices worldwide. The committee has been mandated to make recommendations for restructuring of the company, and its first report is to be submitted on June 1. And there are also problems plaguing another of Trinidad and Tobago's state-owned interests. Caribbean Airlines is facing a monthly bill of $270,000 for returned fleet and $40,000 in credit card fraud. The airline's management appeared before a joint select committee of Parliament to answer to those and other issues on Monday. CNC3's Uvashi Tuwari Rupnarayan has the details.
A $270,000 bill looms over Caribbean Airlines every month. It's the price it paid for breaking the lease on the 767s, which now fly for Air Canada. The huge penalty came up for discussion as CAL officials were called to account by the Parliament.
The leases were due to expire in 2017. We returned the aircraft, but given that we were returning the aircraft, we had to negotiate with the lessors, and that's the agreement we have with the lessors.
So we're still paying for the planes all now? And while the planes are flying for another airline somewhere?
We are paying a part of that lease.
Now, chief among the infractions was CAL's failure to provide documents to the committee.
It is not up to the entity to choose to not submit a document. Once the committee writes and requests the document, the committee expects to receive the document.
The tender and evaluation documents for the 2011 purchase of 5 ATR aircraft are still outstanding.
You must keep records of all procurement activities. I would think that purchasing an aircraft is not a daily or regular purchase, so that there must be some files regarding the procurement.
The ATRs belong to a US $200 million fleet. It's for this fleet regional aviation bodies report 5 engine fire warnings from December 2015 to December 2016.
But I would like to suggest that as the body with responsibility for civil aviation, that information regarding incidents on aircraft in Trinidad and Tobago airspace should be public information. I think members of the public have a right to know.
CAL also faces the issue of finding those who commit a total of $40,000 in credit card fraud on its website every month. And if that wasn't enough, employee morale is also at a low at state-owned CAL.
I do accept that the salary levels in CAL are not at the market level. We are challenged as an organization, yes we are. The ranges have been in place since 2010.
According to a recent survey, just 1 out of every 3 employees feel the airline is moving in the right direction.
And ahead in Newsline Sports, Hilary Beckles inducted into the U.S. Cricket Hall of Fame. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Welcome to SwiftPack, your online shopping and shipping solution. Receive the best rates, expert cargo management, and exceptional customer service. SwiftPack provides secure handling of your smallest packages to your largest cargo with speed and reliability. We invite you to use our U.S. mailbox service, online shopping, ship air and ocean cargo from the supplier to your door. We handle it all for you. Get started now. Sign up for a free regular account or premium account, or give us a call on 440-6100. SwiftPack. You shop, we ship, you save.
It's not about exercising. It's having the strength to do what you're passionate about. It's not about the road traveled. It's about the one to be traveled. An important thing in life is finding the perfect balance between body and soul. With a bottle of Ensure, you get the proteins, calcium, and 26 vitamins and minerals your body needs to live the best moments of your life with strength and energy. Your life, your health, your Ensure.
One aim of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, is for CARICOM nationals to be able to move in the region, to seek work, to visit, to establish a business, or to provide services. CARICOM also provides a complaints procedure which allows you to report any instances where you have experienced difficulty in accessing your rights, either on arrival or once in the country. Simply complete the form provided online and at a number of locations. Submit it to the CSME focal point in your home country, the country where you had an issue, or via the web. The complaints procedure works to safeguard access to CSME for all CARICOM nationals. For more information, visit csmeonline.org or call your local CSME authority. The CARICOM Single Market and Economy. Make it work for you.
Vice-Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Sir Hilary Beckles, has been inducted into the U.S. Cricket Hall of Fame in recognition of his many contributions to the advancement of West Indies and world cricket. He was inducted in a special ceremony in Hartford, Connecticut, and Sir Hilary, an avid cricket enthusiast, began his cricket career playing for Warwickshire County in England, where he was mentored by West Indies legends Rohan Kanai and Lance Gibbs. But he then chose the path to academia. Sir Hilary has been an off-the-field contributor to West Indies cricket. He was also instrumental in setting the Sagicor West Indies Cricket Board High Performance Centre, the combined campuses and colleges cricket, and the 3Ws Oval at the Cave Hill campus at the University of the West Indies. To football now, head coach of the Soca Warriors, Dennis Lawrence, is eagerly anticipating the arrival of Trinidad and Tobago's foreign-based players as he looks to boost his squad ahead of the two crucial World Cup qualifiers starting next week. So far, Lawrence has been training with only local-based players, but he believes the infusion of players from abroad will significantly strengthen the group.
The most important thing is understanding that we've still got the boys who are going to come from abroad. The idea is for them to come in and improve on what we've got at the moment, hopefully with the experience and the ability that these guys are going to bring. It's going to enhance the group. So I think from a point of view in terms of us matching Panama, I think we believe we've got the players to do it. I think it's all about executing the day. So if we were talking about just this local group going to play Panama, obviously we've still got a way to go in terms of our technical ability, in terms of our fitness levels. But I think with the boys coming in, they're going to add to the group, and it's going to put us on par that we're going to be able to compete against Panama.
TNT find themselves precariously perched in the ongoing CONCACAF final round of World Cup qualifiers. Lion won from bottom without a point after losing their opening two games. They will launch their bid to haul themselves back into contention when they take on Panama on March 24 and Mexico 4 days later, with both games set for the Hasty Crawford Stadium. In the only warm-up game before the qualifiers, TNT beat Barbados 2-0 last Friday night at the Otto Bolden Stadium. An encounter Lawrence said the local players had used to boost their chances of selection.
15 sessions and we've had one game. I think we've still got a couple of sessions to go. And
We were missing a couple of the boys today because Tyrone and Nathan are obviously away with Jabute, so they're to come back in the fold. In terms of the Panama game, I think a lot of them tonight didn't do themselves any harm, and I'll be assessing them over the next couple of days to then to be able to make a decision.
Meanwhile, Debutant Jamil Borson says it was a great feeling to score the 2 goals for the Soca Warriors during the international friendly against Barbados last Friday. Coming off the bench in the 32nd minute, Borson was on the score sheet 4 minutes later when he got onto the end of a searching ball from Darren Mitchell to drive a powerful volley past custodian Dario Weir. And Barbados were rocked again when Borson collected Hashim Arcia's pass to once again beat Weir with a powerful right booter. The TNT striker says he wanted to make his debut count.
It felt great because, the experience playing on the national team, is a high level, and it felt great playing for the team, and it felt very good. When I heard they say that the 3 strikers were getting 30 minutes, I said to myself that, I have to make it count in the 30 minutes and, making sure if I get the opportunity, take the chance, because I'm a striker, go to goal and, score.
And now to the track. Former world 100-meter sprint champion Kim Collins says he will retire following this year's IAAF World Championships in London. The 40-year-old Kititian says he is proud of his longevity in the sport, but thinks the time is right to end his career. He says there's no better place to bow out of the sport than the British capital, where fans of the sport are knowledgeable and very appreciative of good performances. The World Championships are scheduled from August 4 to 13. Collins, whose name adorns a thoroughfare in St. Kitts and Nevis, has had a distinguished career. He has won 5 medals in 10 appearances at the World Championships, including a gold medal in the 100 meters in 2003. The World Boxing Association, one of 4 major organizations that sanction professional bouts, officially launched its program to combat the use of prohibited substances in the sport on Monday. This means that from now on, all of WBA's world-rated fighters must enroll in the Fair Boxing program, especially if they want to be able to fight for world titles. Fair Boxing is organized by the WBA in conjunction with the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association and will integrate all boxers in the WBA world rankings. WBA President Gilberto Jesus Mendoza says the program is not designed to punish the athlete, but educate through seminars and courses. In addition to typical anti-doping methods around fights, boxers will also be randomly tested to ensure better monitoring and fair competition. The program began last Saturday in the fight between Demetrius and Jack Kulke for the WBA super welterweight crown in Panama. And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Every day across the Caribbean, non-food goods made locally, regionally, and internationally make their way into the hands of consumers. And from time to time, some of those goods may be defective and might actually cause harm. The CARICOM Rapid Alert System for the Exchange of Information on Dangerous Non-Food Consumer Goods, CAREX, has been set up to protect you. If you receive dangerous goods, you can file a complaint with your local CAREX contact point, or you can log on to www.carex.caricom.org and fill out the online form. The relevant agency will investigate, and once that is complete, the CAREX system will alert other countries in the region so that consumers will be protected from goods that pose a serious risk. For more information and to see the categories of goods covered under the system, visit www.carex.caricom.org or contact your local CAREX contact point. The CARICOM Single Market and Economy. Make it work for you.
The Jonkonu's fife, the rhythm of the drum, the strum of the pan, the lilt of the voice from island to mainland, all pigments and tones, old and young, his and hers, all we are one. You, we, me. This is UE TV.
Again, the major developments of this day: Belize rejects IMF remedies and goes with a homegrown program for economic growth. And in sports, the Hillary Beckles inducted into the U.S. Cricket Hall of Fame. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, we thank you for watching and do have yourselves a very good night.